2 years ago, I quit my job as a police officer, moved to the countryside, and started a completely new life. At the time, I had no idea just how dramatically everything was about to change. And now, somehow, I'm here again, trying to figure out my next step. How do you choose a place to start over? So, I've decided to run a little astrological experiment and let the stars lend me a hand. And today, in this first episode, we're starting with a natal chart. Since I started this wild journey, I've learned the truth behind that overused phrase, loving yourself. Turns out, a big part of it is simply stopping the habit of speaking badly to yourself, treating yourself with kindness, believing that your ideas are worth something, trusting that you're actually capable of bringing them to life. It's not something that happens overnight. It takes time. And honestly, I'm not even sure it's something you ever fully achieve. I still doubt myself almost every day, and there are days when I'm definitely not my own biggest cheerleader. But even so, I've come a long way, and today I can genuinely say I'm proud of how I kept moving forward through one of the hardest seasons of my life. This channel is really a reflection of that transition. An innocent beginning, an unexpected upheaval, a search for identity while the heart slowly heals, and a constant lesson in learning how to flow with change. This whole journey of reinventing myself has completely changed what a fulfilling life means to me. I realized how important it is to understand how we work, what we love, what moves us, what our instincts are. All the little quirks that makes us who we are. Because only then can each of us define what a meaningful life actually looks like. Astrology, together with Kabbalah, became the tools that helped me evolve when I felt completely lost. As I started connecting planetary transits with my emotions and everyday experiences, and decoding the symbols in my natal chart alongside doubts and beliefs I'd been carrying for years, I began to feel that we're parts of something much bigger than ourselves. That maybe our souls come into this life with a genuine desire to embark on their own hero's journey. And that, despite what many people believe, perhaps we really do arrive here with a map already tucked inside us. Going back to Barcelona for my surgery made me realize that I no longer belong there, and that moving backwards would come at an expense of my mental health. At the same time, everything I'm building still feels like a tiny seed. My chapter here in Albacete is coming to an end, which means it's time, once again, to draw a new map. This is exactly what Dr. Joe Dispenza refers to as being in the middle of the river of change. The place where you can no longer see the shore you've left behind, but you still can't make out the one waiting ahead. And he says that's where the magic happens, because when there's nothing, There's room for everything. And that's exactly where this astrological experiment was born. A series where I'll explore different astrological tools, but without getting overly technical or turning this into a lecture. Because I think that would be pretty boring for you and for me. As you already know, I tend to wander off into reflections about life and use this channel as a space for creative expression. And honestly, it felt beautiful to let you be part of the process of choosing a new place to call home. The first stage of this experiment is surprisingly simple. I'm making 2 lists. The first one contains all the practical, real-world things I need to consider. A place with job opportunities, a smaller town where life feels slower, somewhere surrounded by nature where I actually want to go for long walks, and for now, somewhere here in Spain. The second list comes from my natal chart. It's a collection of everything my soul seems to need in order to feel at home. What can a birth chart reveal about that? Your roots and your idea of home, your philosophy of life and the way you approach new places, what you need from your immediate surroundings, how to balance your inner world with your outer world, and even the physical qualities a place might have for you to genuinely enjoy living there. From that, I discovered that I deeply need a place with a bohemian atmosphere, somewhere with artistic and intellectual energy, a touch of mysticism or history, lots of nature, places I can spontaneously wander off to, because that's what makes me feel free, and people constantly passing through, just like a little tourism. What I found most revealing is that, deep down, I already knew all of this. I'd simply never considered any of it important enough because none of it seemed particularly logical. And that's exactly what today's exercise has shown me. Even though it doesn't point to one specific place, it does reveal something far more important. How often we let logic take complete control of our next steps. But who says we can't make decisions by bringing everything together? What the heart wants, what logic asks for, and where the soul quietly keeps pointing. I've started to realize that maybe the first step isn't finding the perfect physical place. Maybe it's imagining the kind of life you actually want to wake up to. Finding a part-time job connected to tourism, walking through green hills, passing old cobblestone streets on the way to buy groceries, building my business from a quiet bohemian cafe, taking off on a random Tuesday to watch the sea or disappear into a forest. A natal chart won't tell you where to live, but it will show you what feels deeply important to you. And I find that strangely comforting, because I'd spent weeks comparing practical options when what I was really looking for was something else entirely. A place that makes me want to walk outside with a notebook in my hand, sit on a random bench, and start writing. So, I'd love to ask you something. If, just for a moment, you set aside money, responsibilities, and everything that supposedly makes sense, where would you choose to live? Or maybe, an even better question, is there something you've wanted to do for a very long time, but never considered important enough to make space for in your life? I'll see you very soon. Until then, take good care of yourself. Goodbye.